Hi everybody, my name is Matt Brown and welcome to Tap Into the Future with Halo Dot. With me in the studio is Craig Leppan and Pierre Aurel. Welcome back to the studio, guys.
Thanks, Matt. Good to be here.
So guys, if you haven't been following Halo Dot, today is really going to blow your mind in terms of what these guys are doing from a technology perspective and really transforming the future of payments. But Craig, I'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth here. Why don't you give us the elevator pitch? Who are you and what exactly is Halo Dot trying to do?
Sure, Matt. So it's Craig Leppan, looking after business development for Halo Dot. And Halo Dot's really doing one of those exciting things in mobile payments, mobile apps, where you're taking something that was so physical, i.e. your good old speed point machine. Everyone's familiar with that. So really taking that speed point machine and dematerializing it. What does that mean? It means we're taking a tiny part of the actual hardware needed and utilizing that in a mobile phone. And that today is Android typically, but iOS will come. But we're taking something that you really needed special, expensive, dedicated hardware for and just converting that into a digital app on a mobile phone so that many, many more players can get paid. And that's our message, game changer, sale maker. So suddenly you can do something on a mobile phone, just like so many other things you've done, taking pictures, calculating things, solving apps, playing games. Now you can do that all just on your mobile phone. And that's kind of Halo Dot in a nutshell.
I want to bring Pierre into the conversation. So Pierre, walk me through, so I understand dematerialization of payments, etc., but what exactly is wrong with, hardware terminals? Walk us through, why that sucks.
Yeah, so I think we're all familiar with the evolution of these devices, right? So you remember the imprint machines, those swiping card devices, clunky, big. Then they made that electronic, right? So then you had a credit card device that had a keypad, a screen, a swipe strip, and they were bulky and had an integrated printer. And all of these things were functional and great. They served their purpose, but they were bulky, expensive, and complex to implement. So, as a small business trying to accept card payments, it's always been a process. You've got to apply for the device. Somebody's got to install it. It's got to be trained. It's got to be maintained. You've got to have consumables like paper. I mean, how many times have you gone to pay and then the spool of the printer runs out? You get that little pink strip.
Yeah. Personally, I don't know why we get receipts anymore. I don't like. I mean, what's the point? Like, how many trees die every year because of that, right? So.
Exactly. And I mean, that thermal paper is non-recyclable, right? So it's terrible. Yeah. So you want to obviously be more digital. You want to use electronic wherever you can. And so we've seen the evolution of these devices. The form factors change. So these days you're not seeing a big clunky device anymore that takes up half your desk. They're now quite small and elegant. So you'll be familiar with the devices that Yoko and SumUp and Square have developed. Very compact little touch pads, a keypad that you can tap on if needed, insert a card and make a payment. So they've really reduced the form factor and they've split a lot of the functionality. So now that doesn't all sit in the device. Half of it sits on your mobile phone and then it uses Bluetooth to connect to the device to do the little payment piece. So now what we've done is obviously the next evolution is move it all to the mobile device. So you don't need that extra hardware at all.
So this is why you're a game changer, right?
Absolutely.
Sales maker. Craig, if I can bring you back into this, because it seems to me like NFC is quite an important technology here.
Yeah.
And maybe for our viewers who are kind of going, hey, is this a QR code thing like SnapScan?
Yeah.
Like walk us through why it's different.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. And I mean, consumers will have experienced contactless and tap. So because tap has become so prevalent, this technology couldn't work without tap. Your phone doesn't have a slot in it for dipping your card or swiping, but it does have an NFC reader. So like many things, this is an evolution and building on where technology is. But consumers today, as you know, contactless and tapping is just becoming so prevalent, even in unattended things like parking meters. I mean, and it drives out the lower volume transactions from cash. And that's one of the big plays of soft POS, which is the generic term of what Halo is. We're a soft POS vendor, soft POS supplier. And it's very much running on standard card rails and card schemes, which is totally ubiquitous, right? Globally. It's one of those few things. And, QR codes are great. They're actually still really e-commerce payments in a sense. They're not card present. They're card not present. That has a different fraud rating and a different risk rating. So yeah, obviously we want to make clear this is not another SnapScan or a Mastercard. It really is a different game entirely.
Okay, so help me understand this. So who is this for? Is this for Matt Brown, the CEO, who wants to pay Craig some money, or is this a retail, merchant who wants to, get paid more often in a more seamless way?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. I mean, it's funny because all of us pay with our credit cards every day, and sometimes we don't think about who is that person we're paying. And of course, that person in our terms is a merchant or a retailer. But, typically only your large retailers had speed point machines now, right? Whereas when you saw QR codes, they already dropped the barrier for acceptance of payments. Your small vendors, your small markets, and of course the Yokos, Pocket Passes went even further. Their whole point was to widen card acceptance. And this is yet another bridge. So SoftPOS, Halo, the whole point is to even lower that barrier to card acceptance, which has been relatively high, even for your SME merchant who maybe did go and buy a Yoko or a Pocket POS. Now you're really saying you can do something on an ad hoc basis. Today, wake up, download the app, and accept payments from your friend if he wants to pay you in a card. I mean, you'll know that when you're gambling or betting or playing golf, you can't pay your friend with your card, can you? But that'd be pretty cool, right? You have to EFT or find some cash. I was in a situation the other day where I owed someone something, but, give me your bank details. So that's why card is so great, right? You just plunk it down there. But absolutely, it's about making card payment a lot easier.
So you lost a round of golf, basically.
I did, yeah.
Okay, you lost a round of golf.
And I never have cash.
And you had to pay, right? Exactly. Smart move, dude. So, Pierre, if I could bring you back into the conversation again. Security is a big deal for me, and I think one of the closest, from what I'm hearing, guys, is Apple Pay. It sounds similar to kind of what, in terms of a technology stack. It's obviously not the same, but it sounds quite similar. But for many of our viewers, they potentially, don't work with Apple Pay, and maybe they're concerned with things like fraud. I mean, like retail, and there's just so many sob stories about security and going wrong in merchants, was it card cloners, or, you put your card in and then suddenly, someone's got your card details. So Pierre, I'd love to ask you, how much more secure is this? I mean, are you really solving a security problem as well for merchants?
Yeah. So, I mean, the hardware is purpose-built, right? So it's designed to be secure. Its sole purpose is to secure that card transaction. So when you tap or insert that card, type in a PIN, all of that is captured on a separate device that typically a hacker can't break into. It's really hardware. It's difficult to, exfiltrate data from hardware. So that's where we come from, right? It's all been around protecting that data. Essentially, we've moved that onto a mobile phone, and we're doing this in software. But it's not to say that you've lost the security of hardware, because within your mobile device, you've got secure elements, right? So you've got things called a key store, and that's used to generate secure encryption keys in hardware. So typically you'd have previously a terminal that would be preloaded with a key. Now your phone can dynamically generate these keys, right? So you've got that hardware capability on the device. So on your mobile phone, you can do everything that you would have had to do on the physical terminal, only now you've got this whole world of software that you can build on that hardware base. And so, the sky's the limit in terms of what you can do. And that also means hackers can do anything, right? So you've got to keep building layers and protection mechanisms to secure your software. And so that's really our focus, is saying, yes, we understand that we can move this from a physical terminal onto a mobile phone, but there's so much more we need to do to protect the operating system, the app, and communications and all of that, because what's more sensitive than your card PIN, right?
Yeah, well, my money. My money, damn it. Protect my money, Halo. So, I mean, obviously, this is quite an innovative technology. It certainly sounds to me that soft POS or soft point of sale is kind of where it's all going, or mobile point of sale is kind of where it's all going. And we can talk about this all day long, but I'd love to maybe take this opportunity to kind of show, just at a high level, how the technology actually works. So I'll ask Craig to do the demonstration on the phone, but Pierre, if you could maybe just talk through what's actually happening here, and then we can have a go. So there you guys, go ahead.
Yeah, so effectively you need an NFC-enabled card. So that's the starting point, right? So inside your card is an antenna that connects to the chip on the front. And so when you move that into the field of a device or a terminal, it powers that NFC antenna and allows communication to take place between the device and the card, right? So what Craig's done here is he's got the app loaded, it's powered the NFC on the phone, and now it's expecting a card to be tapped. So I'll bring my traditional debit credit card, I apply it to the back of the device. That has like a communication now with the phone and the app. It extracts the payment detail from the card and then processes that onto the bank.
All right, guys. So Apple Pay is something I use all the time.
Cool.
So are you the same as Apple Pay, Craig, or not?
Yeah, Matt, it's a great question, and we get asked that even from people that kind of should know the answer, and the answer is it's not. Apple Pay is what the consumer uses to pay, just like you pay with your card. So Apple Pay is a tokenized version of that in your card, make it super convenient. But that's really the consumer side, the issuing side, right? We are the acceptance side. So we're taking a payment from Apple Pay. So you can actually use your Apple Pay to pay us on our Android. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool. When's that going to be available?
So that's now, right? So you can use Apple Pay to pay the Telkom M-POS app or Pocket POS. And that's really the reverse technology. So, Apple, like all things, Garmin Pay and Samsung Pay were around quite a bit before Apple Pay. But of course, when Apple Pay arrives, everyone understands it immediately. And Apple are coming to the acceptance market with Apple Accept, but it's still a very closely guarded thing happening in the States. And today in our market, it's very Android-based, which is fine. It's a huge market for mobile phones. And we're very card acceptance, whereas Apple Pay is issuing and for the consumer. So it is an important distinction, but obviously it's very much leveraging the same piece of tech. That NFC reader that you're using on your phone is exactly the same piece of hardware we're using to create the acceptance of card payment.
So this is really fascinating for me. So this is an innovative new soft POS system that you guys are basically launching into the market. In the next episode, guys, we're actually going to double down into how the technology works. So pay careful attention to that. But Craig, if I could maybe just ask you, where should people go if they want to get their hands on Halo Dot? Like, what should they actually do at this time?
Yeah, so it's an important distinction. We are not direct to merchant or direct to consumers. So think of us as previously people bought terminals, payment terminals. So there's big vendors out there who provided hardware terminals. We're really that in software. So therefore, we're a lot behind your average merchant even. So we're not direct to merchant. We won't sell a solution to Joe's Kitchen Shop or KFC or anyone else, but our customers are those customers that are merchant acquirers. So, from our website, there's certainly lots of options to go on there and be directed to our partners. Notable, of course, is Nedbank. Their Pocket POS solution is powered by Halo Dot's tech at the end of the day. So Pocket POS is a direct go-to to use soft POS in a mobile app. And of course, UKshare M-POS has just launched with Telkom, which is super interesting in that it's a wallet, very light sign-up. So those are two obvious plays, and there'll be many more coming into market. But those are certainly two that we are very proud to be part of in the market today.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for painting a picture of the problem around, hardware terminals and how, the future is really being enabled with Halo Dot's technology. My name is Matt Brown, guys. We'll see you in the next episode. Pay careful attention to that. We're also going to double down in episode 3 on Ukeshi and the Telkom Pay opportunity for you guys. So Matt signing out. I'll see you again soon.